Welcome back to another edition of Spotlight Middlesex County, where today we are on site at Middlesex College, meeting with Sal Maletto, Senior Engineer with the county, as we discuss the incredible scope and scale of this project, Sal. We're going to touch on a few of the different locations that obviously highlight how much has gone into this project, but on a high level, walk us through where we are and the amount that is going into completing this project.
Yeah, we're about 9 months into construction. We've completed structural steel on the student center, outfitted the building with retaining block wall on the interior of the first floor. The contractor is moving over towards building out the exterior finishes, as well as bringing in the trades to complete HVAC, plumbing, and electrical work within.
As we walk through it, you really do see it almost phase by phase, and understanding a little bit of what goes into completing it. And from a public perspective, just knowing how much has to go into the timeline, mention the sequencing, and the process, so that every phase of the job is getting completed right behind one another, and you're not sitting there saying, well, 6 months from now we'll use it. You actually want to be having that rolling construction process.
You almost have a snapshot that's a week ahead of each other, right? 1 week, almost 1 month back in this area, and as you go along, you can see like a time lapse almost, but in real life construction.
So as we continue to tour through the multi-purpose venue, it's also worth noting what happens upon completion. When we discuss about the delivery of all of the food, the beverages, the services, the maintenance of this facility, you're literally standing and looking in what will eventually be a finished service road that'll operate on the backside here, allowing everyone that makes your game day experience, that makes your venue experience possible, continue to access, provide, update, and make sure the venue continues to run and operate smoothly. So this is one of those small details that actually has a big impact when it comes to the day-to-day here at the venue. Okay, so Sal was telling me, I'm not gonna act like I know where all the locations are. We are at location D now currently, building D. And this is a good example. We were talking about sequencing and how the project is coming together. We're looking at it from most complete to earlier phases. And you can see that visually because we know the bleachers are going to be up here, and you can see the further along construction with the beams versus where we started prior to that. Just walk everyone through a little bit of how that goes.
So in building D in this area, you'll see just the steel going up now, right? The support, the structure, the skeletons. And as we work our way back, and we saw on our way back, you start getting into the modular block walls, the decking going up, and then as you go further along, you have trades on the inside, and they'll continue to work along on that 1 week behind, that 2 week behind time frame, and sequence themselves out. So as one crew finishes, the next one starts, right? And they have constant work going on.
Again, sports analogies are always an easy way to frame it if we're thinking about building up to game day.
Yeah.
Right? This is the warming up, the trainers, everyone building up towards that moment when you collectively take the field.
Yeah.
And this becomes that living, breathing thing that we all know we're pushing towards.
Yeah.
It's a lot of really thoughtful aspects as we continue to work through construction that we're going to see come to life in a very visual way. The batting cages, again, we showcase those bleachers. I think seeing that come to fruition is going to be something the public can really appreciate for everything that goes into.
Absolutely. So building off from the field level, right? And all the support that goes into the sports teams. Then on the concourse level, right, is the open air, the community aspect. And not only we've seen the bowl seating declining down off of the concourse level and down towards the field, but up on the concourse, and what we're seeing in this steel frame structure is going to be the areas that support the people that come in. Right. You'll have the bathrooms, the concessions, the bar seating, bar coming into behind home plate, all the areas that are necessary to bring people into your home.
Okay, so as we've now wrapped ourselves completely around the multi-purpose venue, be able to walk through some of those different phases, one of the other components, as there's are many that go on here, is the Student Center, which obviously is going to serve the Middlesex College student body. And this really does expand what the college can accomplish and accommodate for their students as well. Just a little bit about, because this feels as big of a component of what's going on here as every construction aspect that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, Well, when we're talking about construction and we're walking the site, right, it's easier to visualize stuff as it's going up over here.
Yeah.
The contractor came out and they built this portion quicker than anything else. That's how they chose to tackle this problem. But the roofing system is going up in the next week, and will be completely watertight from the top down, right, as they continue to build out the structure that goes around the facade and get it watertight from the outside. Not only does the student population going to be coming in and utilizing this area through the lounge spaces, the administrative areas, the breakout rooms, but also the community that comes in and utilizes the venue will also be able to utilize the restaurant space and maybe one day be cooked for by the culinary arts program.
From a county perspective, it was thoughtfully brought to the table of how do we integrate all these different components, and then it comes back to Sal, senior engineer, it comes back to the construction crew and saying, how are we going to lay this out? How are we going to complete it? And I think what's really nice that this was tackled early on in the construction phase means that it's one of the things that we can point to and say to the college, say to the community, this is where we wanted to start this journey in a lot of ways as we continue to pull all the way around and tie it all together. We're going to have so much more when we come to this construction. We talked about at the top that this will eventually all get closed in. We'll start to move to the interior of what we see here from a construction standpoint, and that may be some of those really easy visuals that tell you that this is coming closer to completion, but having an understanding of what goes into it and how much is required to accomplish it is something that I think really brings value and understanding to everyone that sees this project as you're driving down Route 1, as you're walking across the campus, seeing everything come together here in a really incredible way. So there's a lot that can go on here, and maximizing every last drop of the lemon, right? Yeah. Maximizing every possible component and space that you can means that we maximize the value for the residents, for the student body, for the patrons, for the workers as well, right? Making it a thoughtfully constructed, multi-purpose venue that allows us to really provide the community with as much as possible, knowing that we're coming from a place of what we used to have prior to this project, keeping all of that, and then giving you so much more. We thank Sal Maletto, Senior Engineer for the county, walking us through a little bit, and of course, he'll be walking us through a lot more because we're going to have these updates coming for you throughout the course of the project as we move forward. Thank you for joining us today on Spotlight Middlesex County. We'll see you again next time.